Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first session on mobile application development. This is an introductory session on Flutter, and with the sessions forthcoming, we will get into more with Flutter and develop much more applications. Okay. So I'm Rahul Kashyap, and I'm the app team lead under DSCI. I'll be the instructor for Flutter for the coming every session on application development. And I'll be accompanied with Mohini Gupta. She's also a Flutter developer, and we'll be helping you to learn Flutter, and eventually we'll develop very good and blown applications, as you must have seen on YouTube or not. Okay, then let's proceed. So today's agenda for this session is that first of all we start with what is application development and what are the different ways of developing an applications, and we then move with mobile application development. Mobile application development, and under mobile application development, we will look with the native way and the hybrid way to develop applications. So let's first of all talk on what is actually an application. So an application is basically a code or set of code that we write so that we can make use of a service. Like consider application like Zomato. Okay, so what happens when we use a Zomato application? We can order a food and get it delivered at our address. So at the end, we are actually fetching a service. So the Zomato developers must have written a code in the background, and that helps you get ready with the service. So that's what an application is for. And since we have a number of platforms where we could make use of a service, so we have different ways of developing an application. We have under desktop, we have Windows, Linux, and Mac. Under web application development, we have web apps or websites. And obviously under mobile application development, we have Android and iOS. Let's move forward with mobile application development. So mobile application development is, development of applications on Android and iOS. So each of these platforms have their own native way of developing an application. For Android, we have Kotlin or Java as the language used for development in the native way. And for iOS, we have Swift. We had Objective-C earlier, but people now prefer Swift as the language for development. And under Android development, we even have XML. XML is used actually for designing the layout. By layout, I mean the screen which we see on the phone, the UI elements which we see on the phone, that's actually written in XML, and that gets linked with the Kotlin or Java code, and finally you get an APK. So this is the native way of developing an application. This was the only primitive way few years back, 10 to 15 years back, but now we have other options also available. Other than the native way, we have the hybrid way of developing an application. By hybrid, I mean one single code base, and you can develop applications for the platform you desire. Okay, so one single code base means you pick up a programming language. All those four frameworks have a fixed programming language, and with that programming language, you develop applications for all the platforms you want, like Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, web. So what are these hybrid mobile application development? First one is React Native. React Native is actually a JavaScript framework. Okay, and it is used for developing the hybrid applications. Okay, and it is one of the most trendy framework for developing. Okay, next we have Ionic. Ionic is also based on Angular, and it also uses JavaScript for writing the code. And at the end, you develop applications for both iOS and Android. Or other platforms even. Xamarin is also actually it is powered by Microsoft, and it uses C# language for developing applications. And lastly, Flutter. We'll discuss more on Flutter soon. So these are the hybrid development options which we have under developing applications for any platform you want to desire, and you can write just a single code and debug the application, and finally you have the end result. Okay, an application for a platform which you desire. These are just the theoretical thing. Once we get started with Flutter, we'll move on to the coding thing that we need to do for developing an application. So first of all, let's discuss why hybrid. If we had the native way, then why should we move on to hybrid? So hybrid, the most important thing is single code base, as I said, once, and debug it for the platform you need. So that's a single code base thing, which is actually very handy because you see, we have other options. Means we have other advantages like simpler to build and test. These all depend on the same thing, that we have a single code base. If consider you are a native developer, if you are a native developer and you have to develop applications for Android as well as for iOS, then you have to write the code first in Kotlin or Java, and secondly, again, you have to write it for Swift. And if you come across any bug under Android development, you fix it, and again you have to see if that thing is working on iOS as well. Okay, so if means you have to simultaneously program two different code bases, and that actually is not simpler enough. Comparing it with hybrid, it's not actually that simple. Next is lower cost. You will be needing only one developer to develop the product for both of the platforms. The cost required is, means consider yourself as a client. You have to you have a product, you have an idea, and you need that product to be available as a service on an app, as an application on the platform. So you will be needing, if you go to a native developer, you'll have to fetch a Android as well as an iOS developer. But if you look for a hybrid developer, he could get you ready with all your requirements under a small cost. Okay, so that's also a point under hybrid development. Next is faster delivery time. You see, all these points are sub points under the one thing, that is single code base. Since you have to write the code just once, all these points cover up that thing. Okay, so faster delivery time speaks for itself. You will have to debug it for just one time. If it works good, it will run on Android as well as on iOS. So you need not to run, means you need not to debug it again and again, the different code bases actually. Easier to maintain. Consider you have published an application. Okay, you are a native developer, you published an application on Android as well as on iOS. Then if you want to have an upgrade or add a feature, like recently dark mode became a trend in the application, so you are moving on to dark mode. So if you had to add dark mode to your applications, you again have to write the code for Java, Kotlin, and simultaneously you have to write the code in Swift. So maintenance is also a bigger problem in native development. So this is the thing which makes hybrid development a bit favorable and preferable over native development. Yeah, so after all these discussions, can we say, is hybrid solution the ideal option for mobile application development? This answer is actually partially yes and partially no. Partially yes, because we saw all these advantages. Okay, these are actually significant advantages. We couldn't ignore these things. So it's actually partially yes because of these things, and partially no because since all these things are just an overlay. By overlay, I mean you're not dealing with the native things. Okay, programming on a different platform, and that actually gets converted to the native thing. Okay, so you have a set of limitations which you have to go with if you are moving on with hybrid solutions. Okay, like I tell you, if you want to use a platform specific service, like you want to use a location access from your user's phone for your application. So this is a platform specific thing. You want to use any sensor, accelerometer. Okay, you want to access the camera or file manager, because day-to-day applications require these things. So you have, and since every year Android and iOS are moving with upgrades which are basically most concerned on security. So every other time you have to fetch permissions and you have to write the code in the native. You have to write the native code to get all those things done. So hybrid solution is favorable if you have these things to be considered in mind. Otherwise, go with native development if you want to learn a particular development environment. If you want just to learn native development, Android development, then go with that. Okay, but yeah, Flutter is actually one of the things which is different from all other hybrid solutions. Most of the problems like these, like I said, you have the limitations. Most of the limitations have been removed by the Flutter framework. So we will discuss how it is removed and how we could use Flutter for you could learn Flutter for application development. Okay, ending with the first topic, let's move on to the questionnaire round, and let's see if you have any questions.
See if there is anything that you would like to ask in regards to the differences, or maybe like why is one better than the other. Till whatever he's discussed now, you can put it in the chat or unmute and ask. Otherwise, we'll continue. So I don't think so. They have.
If you have any
anything
questions,
to ask. We can go ahead, Rahul.
I think since it was a basic thing and not much of the thing has been discussed yet, there must not be any question. Okay, moving forward. Now let's talk about what is Flutter. Okay, since we covered let's have a brief recap. We had what an application is. Okay, we came to know what application development is, and under application development we saw what are the platforms that we have and we can develop applications. And under mobile application development, we had several ways. We have the native way, we had the hybrid way, and under hybrid we have different options. So let's move forward with the hybrid way, and in particular Flutter. So what is Flutter? Flutter is actually the open source UI software development kit. By open source, I mean the complete code on which we write the applications is actually open for everyone to read, and you can even contribute. Okay, software development kit. UI, because you have a number of elements which you can make use to prepare the UI of your application. Okay, so that's it. That's the importance of Flutter. You have a number of widgets available that you can make use and develop application. And by software development kit, SDK in short form, you must have heard it. So even if you haven't heard it, I explain it. Like when you prepare a recipe, you need the ingredients, no? You need a particular ingredients to prepare the particular recipe. So in that case, if you want to prepare any application, be it Android application or a hybrid application or even iOS application, you'll be needing a software development kit, a utility package, okay, so that it could transform into the required platform needed thing. Okay, after all, you have to run it on your phone or not. So you have to you need this SDK thing to run the application on your device. So that's what Flutter SDK is. Flutter SDK provides you all those utility packages, the widgets that we use, and that's what Flutter is. And it has been created by Google. The language which we use development of Flutter application, that is Dart, and these applications can run on Android, iOS, Linux, Mac, Windows, Google Fuchsia, and web from a single code base. This can be a new term for you. Google Fuchsia is also an operating system. It is actually under development. I think it's also an open source thing, and it's an operating system which can be in near future available publicly. So applications can be developed for Google Fuchsia under Flutter, writing just single code base. So let's move with what are the features of Flutter. Yeah, of every hybrid solution, that is the single code base, the same is applicable for Flutter too. You have the Dart language which we use for developing the Android, iOS or web application, and the entire development is done in Dart language. You need not to learn any other language to develop applications. Okay, so this is what Flutter has. And secondly, if you compare with the native development thing, I said XML is used to prepare the layout. Okay, the look and feel of it, and Kotlin or Java is used for developing the logic of the application. That is also pretty much cleared in this Flutter framework. Even for developing the UI or for adding the code or logic code, you have just the Dart language. We will go through Dart and we'll learn how we do it. But for today's introductory session, let's just get introduced with these things. Okay. Next, let's move forward to the second point, that is embraces platform differences. Embraces platform differences actually means that, platform. By platform, what we mean? We mean Android or iOS. Even if you have the same code or same application running, you have a different UI. Let's consider WhatsApp application. On an iOS application and on a Android application is different. even though every functionality remains the same. The typing message is shown when one of your chat is typing, and every other thing remains the same. But what differs is the application interface. So that is actually very good, very easily handled in Flutter. The design Android is called Material Design, and the design which is followed on iOS is called Cupertino Design. I have shown these images to compare an alert dialog box which we have in both these platforms. Just look into it. On an Android phone, the alert dialog box have this particular UI. You have the title, you have the subtitle, and you have the two options like yes or no. Similarly, on the Cupertino design that we use on iOS, we have the same contents, title, subtitle, and two options. But you see, both of them have a different look and feel. So how does we manage to get all these different look and feel while you are writing the code? You don't know that which platform this is going to run. Okay, so how do Flutter helps you with that? This is the way we handle different UI elements, how to present different UI elements under Flutter application development. Don't terms like Cupertino, button, theme, and context, all those things. Just see that there is a ternary operator used here. We have a condition. If the theme of the platform is actually iOS, like target platform is iOS, then build a Cupertino button, otherwise build a raised button. Raised button is actually just considered as a button which is built on Android. So raised button is used to is built if the target platform is an iOS based device. Raised button is rendered if you are using an Android device, and a Cupertino button is rendered if you are using a iOS device. So this is how we handle different platform specific things. We just check what the platform is, and likewise we develop the UI. Planning with the style and theme. Okay, platform. We'll come to it in future sessions. Okay, yeah. Third and the most important feature about Flutter is hot reload and hot restart. So if you are familiar with native development, or even if you are not, what happens in native development is that when you you created a screen, consider you created a screen, you have different UI elements, and you checked it in your phone or your emulator. An emulator is a virtual device available on your PC, and you can debug it without connecting your phone. Because finally, when you develop an application, before completing or building the APK, you want to debug it, no? So you created a screen and you saw that no, I had to add some border to this button, or in of the button, or change the background color, or anything you want to do it. So under native development, what you do is actually you change the code and you build the APK once again, and that actually takes a couple of minutes. Okay, even if you have a good hardware, it actually takes 1 to 2 minutes for the application to build, for the APK to build. But under Flutter, we have these options: hot reload and hot restart. What hot reload does is, as soon as you bring any change in the code, that is reflected within seconds into your emulator. You prepare a screen and you increase the border radius of any button or any text box that will appear within seconds on your emulator or your Android. When we'll be covering the UI thing, we will be preparing some UI. We will see the use of it, and you will consider, that this is an important feature under Flutter. Now, what hot restart does, it can be sometimes that you need to import some assets from some directory not in the Flutter project, not included in the Flutter project. Like consider you want to show your image in the application. Okay, so if you want to show your image, so when you start a Flutter project, your project didn't have don't have that image which you want to show. So you have to bring it from some directory where you have kept it into the assets of the Flutter project. So in that case, I said hot reload means bring up the changes which is in the code, and hot restart brings up the change which is in the entire Flutter project. If if you add something in your assets, then you can do the hot restart and it will be loaded within seconds. Okay, hot reload was under a second and hot restart was within seconds. So you need not to build the APK completely to get your things done. So it actually is very helpful while development. Okay, so that's a very good feature about Flutter. And these features are not even available on other hybrid solutions. Okay, I just compared with native way, but even with the other hybrid solutions, you don't have this feature. So hot reload and hot restart is a very good feature available for development. Okay. We have why Flutter? Why not other hybrid solutions? Okay. So React Native is one of the trending thing among for development. So let's compare Flutter and React Native and see which one wins or which one has a good advantage. Okay. So this is the architecture of application development on React Native. Okay. What happens on React Native? I said React Native is based on JavaScript framework. So you write the code in JavaScript. Okay. And you have a bridge in between. Bridge. What does this bridge do? So when you run an application on a device, listen carefully. Okay, so when you run an application on a device, you need to have that native thing only. Like when you enter a bar, you need to be above 21 years of age. Okay, so similarly, if you have an APK, that must be actually the same platform, belonging to the same platform. But since you are writing the JavaScript code, you need a bridge. You need a bridge which will actually convert your JavaScript code into the native SDK, the software development kit for the Android or iOS, and that will run your application into that device. Okay, so you will need a bridge in between. This is a great solution under hybrid development, but this bridge is actually costly. How is it costly? That it costs on the performance of your application. Okay, since every time you will you pressed a button and now you have moved on to a different screen. So again, everything will be converted into the platform specific thing, and it actually struggles with your performance of the application. So this is actually a good solution, but it has its own issues, which is this bridge. If somehow this bridge could be removed and directly the JavaScript thing could be converted into the native code, then it could be a great thing. And this is the only solution which had been brought up by Flutter. Now Flutter does what? It doesn't have this bridge in between. Flutter and Dart. Okay, so these are the actually icons of Flutter and Dart. So don't confuse with that. So how does Flutter manages to remove this bridge? Let's see how does this bridge is removed. So Flutter, you see this illustration. Now let's move on to the next illustration. So what Flutter does is that you have the Flutter API at the top. Flutter API, by Flutter API I mean the utility, packages and the widgets. Even if you don't understand, consider it as the ingredients needed for a recipe. Okay, you prepare a recipe and you need the ingredients. So these are the ingredients required for development of a Flutter application. You have those utility and widgets. You use those widgets, write the code in Dart, and now you have a Dart code. And that Dart code is actually, you don't since you had this widgets from before, these widgets have been written from before. They are pre-compiled into native code. Okay, you don't need a bridge in between. Okay, this is consider if the bouncer knows the person in the bar. But this is a person who is greater than 21 years of age. So it could happen that he would allow him without even checking it. So that's the thing here. You already have it pre-compiled into the native Dart to Dart to native code, and you don't need a bridge in between. And that is actually done by the Flutter engine, which is called Skia. Okay, Skia, and it is based on C++. So for educational purpose, you won't be needing it. But yeah, so this is how a Flutter application is made. Okay, your application, you write the code in Dart, and that is pre-compiled into native code, and the things get rendered and available on your device. Okay. Also, Flutter runs the application at 120 frames per second. Great thing about Flutter, since no other hybrid application solution has this feature. So if you provide some animations, in your application, that consider 120 frames per second means that every second 120 times your application is being refreshed. Okay, so your animations will be smooth, your performance will be smooth. So that is an advantage of Flutter. Yeah, now let's consider we're using an example. How is this thing done? Okay, consider a raised button. Okay, raised button is a button of material design. This is a button which we use for designing Android applications, and let's see how it processes to be rendered on your device. So in case of other applications or other hybrid solutions, okay, what React Native does is that you created a button. Okay, you created a button and it will now knock at the door of your application manager. Like if you are using iOS, it will ask, okay, I have to build an application. You are a iOS device, build a button of your UI. Okay, build a UI button. So that's the thing what happens in React Native. And or if you are using an Android device, then it will say, okay, build the application that is similar to or that is equal to the widget or that is equal to your specific button. Okay, but what Flutter does that it has some custom implementation. I said no, it's pre-compiled. Just at the time when you compile your application, it actually is converted into that platform specific thing, and you have this. You don't need that bridge in between. Okay, so what advantage it brings is that you have a great control, less platform limitations. I must not say that there is no platform limitation. There is platform limitation, but compared to other hybrid solutions, you have less platform limitations and no translation loss. Sometimes it is possible that through the bridge you can come across some translation loss, but that's not possible in Flutter because you don't have a bridge. Between Flutter and React Native, I compare React Native because it is the most popular component for Flutter. Okay. If we have these things infavorable with Flutter, then why do people learn React Native? So actually JavaScript based framework, and React Native is almost similar to React. And what React is, it is a JavaScript framework which is used for web development. Okay, it is a UI thing required for web development. React, and people who know React can learn React Native with a limited number of, less number of trainings, and can then develop applications. So it becomes easier for web developers to switch from web development to application development, or they could enhance their skill, which makes them web developer plus application developer. So the skill set increases, and therefore people prefer React Native. Okay, if you are already known with React, to move on to React Native becomes easier for you. So that what makes. Is there anything for me to read?
No. It was like, yeah, this is actually what happens. Like even I started with Ionic because I am a web developer and I can make like apps using Ionic. It's based in JavaScript.
Yeah, that's actually what makes it popular. No, web developers can easily switch to application development. So React Native that's why so popular.
Yeah, this is the
solution. Application development, I must say that Flutter is the best, and it's no harm in learning Flutter. Okay. So let's move with the next thing, that is Flutter environment setup. Now we had a brief discussion about everything. That was the topic for the session. Let's have a recap once again, because what happens when you do a recap, you get a proper summary of the entire thing which we learned. So we now know what Flutter is and how it develops the application, and what other options available for application development, and how our application built on that platform. Now let's move on to Flutter environment setup. How do we set up the environment for development of application on Flutter? I'll end the slide so here. Okay, I can switch from here. So what you need to do is you need to visit flutter.dev, the channel for Flutter, official website for Flutter. When you visit this website, it has a good documentation about anything you want to know about Flutter. Okay, but right now we will be setting up the application, setting up the environment for development. Click this Get Started button. Yeah, now we'll select the which we will be developing the applications. I'm on Windows, so I'll click on Windows. You can choose what platform what you are running. Okay, so these are the requirements, some basic requirements: Windows 7 disk space and tools required. Okay, Windows PowerShell is actually means by default available on your Windows. You need to install Git. Okay, you must have attended Soham session on Git. Then you will have, means you know what Git is, and you have to install Git. That's available on Git SCM. I don't know the entire website, but yeah, that's available on Git. You can Git SCM. You can download it from there. Next, you need the Flutter SDK. I said about the SDK, what SDK is. So you will be needing this Flutter SDK for development. You can download it. Okay, click on it and it will start downloading. I have actually downloaded and set up the entire environment. I'll just make you go through it. So download the installation bundle to get the latest stable release. Okay, let me talk about this table. So Flutter, since it is an open source project of Google, so it has a number of channels available where development is going on. Flutter is still evolving. Okay, currently channel, I don't remember the entire names, but we have stable channel, we have the dev available for development for of different things. Like stable channel is available for mobile development. Okay, if you want to develop applications only for Android and iOS, go forward with the stable channel. And otherwise, if you want to progress and learn development for web, you can just move with beta channel. I'm actually on a beta channel because I do web development with Flutter too. Okay, so for now I'll recommend download the stable channel only, and if in upcoming sessions we come across and learn for go through Flutter for web, then we will move channel 2. And also the dev channel is available for development of desktop application. If you want to develop Windows application, Linux or Mac, you have to switch to dev channel. They are still under development, so they're not just not pushed on stable channel. So once you have downloaded this Flutter stable channel SDK, extract the zip folder and start to place the contained Flutter in the desired location. For example, C source Flutter. So you can, when you extract this SDK, you will have a Flutter folder. And what you need to do is that you need to place it in under your C drive. Okay, probably under source, or I'll show you, but I have kept it. Okay, so this is my directory. This local disk C, and here you see I have this Flutter folder. So you have the entire thing required for the development. So you have to, in the same way, you have to keep the folder under your C drive. And yeah, there's a warning: do not install Flutter in a directory like C program files that require elevated privileges. So this must be kept in mind. Do not install this under program files or copy this under program files. Just place it under C drive and things will go easier with you. You can even use this git clone command to clone the stable channel, but you know, whichever way you want to prefer, but make sure you clone it under the location which I mentioned. Next, what you need to do is you need to update your path. So you have to update the path of the Flutter. That's actually required for accessing the Flutter commands. Okay, you'll run different Flutter commands, like Flutter create is used for creating a Flutter project. Okay, Flutter run is used for debugging. So you have to edit the environment variables path. I'll show you under this PC. Under advanced system settings, environment variables, and you see under path, I have this Flutter bin. You have the path to the bin directory of Flutter. Okay, so you have to add this. Just go and like select this path. You can even use the path which is available for system variables. So click create new and paste the path of the Flutter directory, Flutter bin directory, and that's done. Now Now we're done with the updating path. Run Flutter Doctor. Okay, Flutter Doctor, by the name it says, it checks whether Flutter is in the good condition or not. Okay, so run Flutter Doctor. Open up your console. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, fine. So you have to run Flutter Doctor, and this must be the output. This somewhat of this kind should be the output to ensure that you are actually done with setting up the environment. Okay, so when you will run Flutter Doctor for the first time, when you have not installed Android Studio, these Android licenses will be crossed, will not be tick marked because you haven't installed Android Studio. Because to render application finally into the platform which you need on Windows, you can't actually use the iOS development because that's available only for Mac. So you have to go with Android Studio, download Android Studio, and we will see that right now. And at least this must be the check thing. Like you must, it must show that Flutter is installed, and it will show the channel. Currently, I'm the beta channel, and I'm using this version on Microsoft Windows. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's move forward. Run Flutter Doctor. Yeah, that's done. Android setup. Yeah. Next is the thing that you Android. How will we do that? We'll actually download the Android Android Studio exe file. I'll move to that too. Okay, you have to download this file, download Android Studio, and you have to eventually install it. Okay, please help us improve that. Oh, thanks. Okay, so download it. It's actually pretty big software, and yeah, it has some good requirements. You must have a good PC for running it. But once you are done with the Flutter Android SDK setting up the things, you can actually not use Android Studio and move on to a different code editor you want. But for at the starting time, you will be needing Android Studio to set up the Android SDK. Okay, so that's the thing you need. Just install Android Studio, set up your Android device. Android device is actually what I said, no, emulator. So that's what Android device is. I'll open Android Studio for you right now. So this is Android Studio. Let's create a new Flutter project. Make sure that this Flutter application is selected. We'll see what are these other options for. And for now, let's move on with Flutter application. Okay, let's keep it as demo. This is the project name. It will ask you to enter the package name. Package name is actually the package, the name with which you will be pushing your application or publishing your application on the stores. Okay, it must be unique. Therefore, it is asking. For now, we can keep this com.example remote application. Click on finish. It's a bit of time. Until then, let's see what Android device is actually. So Android device is. So it's done. So Android device is the emulator which we will be running. So this is the sign for AVD Manager, Android Virtual Device Manager. Here you have to create a Android device. How will we do that? We'll just, I have two of the Android device created. This is a Pixel phone and there is this tab. I have created these two because these two have a different, since tab also has a different screen size and ratio, and also Pixel has a different. So I just make sure that my application runs well. I mean, is looking good. Since you have to consider your application for different screen sizes. Therefore, I've kept two different emulators to check whether my application. You must also keep two different emulators to check whether your UI looks good on both the emulators or not. Okay, so I'll just run my emulator. But before that, let's create one. So we'll move on to create virtual device. Select a particular app phone that you want as your emulator. Alternatively, you can use your own Android phone for debugging. Okay, for that you need to enable the USB debugging option, which is actually available once you enable the developer option within your phone. Okay, so that's also not a big means hard task, you can actually do that. Let's see what actually it says over here. So it's now here this is saying for Android device which you're using, the physical Android device which you use. So what you need to do, you need to go to a enable developer options. That's actually done by clicking the build number 7 times on an Android phone. It will enable developer options, and under developer options enable USB debugging. And once that is done, just connect your phone and it will be visible. It will be visible over here. I'll show. Just a second. What the hell is this? So just a minute. So this is the list of applications which are available, list of debugging devices which are available for your application. So right now it shows Chrome, Edge, and Web Server. If you are on the beta channel, then only it will show you, because these things are for web development, and stable doesn't have the support for it. So at least if you have created one emulator, that will be shown up here. Or if you connected your phone, the name of your phone will be visible here. Okay, so that's the thing required for setting up your Android device. Now, when you own a virtual device, you have to just set AVD Manager, click on create virtual device, select a particular phone. I use this Pixel 3a because it has the support for Play Store, and it is a good decent phone. You see this is the Pixel 3a, and you just need to create it. Select the operating system which you will be running on this phone, Pi, Q, or R, whatever you want. Even you can go lower, but I prefer Pi because most of the applications you develop, most of the people all over the globe are the users of Pi. I mean Android Pi. Not everyone is enjoying the latest Android update. So Pi is the most favorable one. So I use Pi for application development. Just select it. I have downloaded the Pi. You see, other SDKs are not available, but I mean it's not downloaded, but it's available for download. One of them. Next, click next, and what you need to do is enter the name of the AVD which you want to keep. Okay. And device, not much thing is required. Just you edit the name of the AVD, and you're done with that. Okay. So I'll click on finish. See, 3 different applications, 3 different emulators. One is Tab, other one is Pixel, and the third one is Pixel 3a API 28. So you can create it, you can even delete it. Okay, so that's the thing. I'll delete it for now. So we are done with the Android setup. I mean Android device setup. So next, web setup is not needed. Let's move on with the next setup an editor. Okay. So I said no, even Android Studio provides you a good editor for development. Okay, you will write the code here. You see, this is the code. This is the Dart code, main.dart. So this is the code where this is the place where we'll write the code. Code editor is also available on Android Studio, but it can happen that Android Studio could be a bit heavy on your system. Then you can go with other editors. Preferably, I use VS Code, Visual Studio Code. You can download it from here and install the Flutter and Dart plugins. Okay, so Flutter and Dart plugins, and you're good to go. The same thing can be done on, VS Code too. I'll show you with the VS Code also, so that it's easy for you to set up the environment. Okay, so I'll open VS Code. Created an application. Created a project named demo. So we can just open that project, open folder. I'll select the demo. Where is it? Okay, yeah, this is the demo application. Here you have this. You have this main.dart file, and you have a number of options available here too. And you see this. This is we had no AVD Manager, where we used to manage what application do we want to run, what device which you want to run the application. So this is also the set of devices which is available. One is Chrome, Pixel, Edge, Web Server. Start tab. It's asking if do you want to start the tab. We had no tab emulator, so do you want to start the tab? But no, I'll go forward with Pixel. So Pixel is selected. This is the phone, and this is the native or the boilerplate code available. And what you can do is that you have a shortcuts. You have shortcuts also. I'll share the my Medium post on VS Code. That will help you with knowing the shortcuts or the extensions that are necessary. Okay, so this is the shortcut for running the Control Shift P actually opens the whatever. So you have these options. Start with debugging. I'll start with debugging, and it will run the boilerplate code which is available. So it will ETK just for one time, and then you have this hot reload and hot restart button. Okay, this is the hot restart button. Hot reload is actually when you change the code, and if you have some settings.json changed over. So what I have done is that my application, my code will automatically save after a delay of 1000 ms. So once the code is saved, hot reload works, and it will reload the entire thing within seconds. Okay, so that's for the setup. Let's until the application is built. Let's see what next we can do. So that's Control Shift P actually brings a command palette. I think I forgot that name. So command palette has all those commands which are necessary for running your application or in any code editing which you want to do. So that's it for the development setup. So once you are done with the setup, and once you are done with the Android setup, then if you run this Flutter Doctor, then you'll have all these check marks. Okay, it will show that Android Studio is also installed, VS Code is also installed. Connected devices. By connected devices, it means what are the devices available for debugging. For me, it shows 3 available because right now I have Pixel open and JavaScript, that web you saw. No, we have that web and Chrome available, so that makes the 3 of the connected devices. So you are ready to go with the Flutter development. So this is what the setup is. Let's see if the application is built or not. Yeah. So the application is built. This is the application or the boilerplate code. And this is the application which will be built with the boilerplate code we had. We didn't write any code. No, we had some codes previously written. So this is the thing which will when you have a project started. Okay. So this application is basically a tap counter application. You have pushed the button this many times. Right now it says 0. Because we haven't pushed any button, so we'll click this button. Now it says 1, 2, 3. So similarly, it will keep on. This is the tap counter application. So we will see how can we manufacture different application, different screens, and move on with Flutter development. So that's it for the development setup. If you are developing it, if you are setting it up right now. If you come across any problem, tell me. Otherwise, you can this video, this recording will be uploaded on YouTube. Just revisit it, and if you find any problem, you can see the YouTube videos available for setup. Okay, just search Flutter setup Windows, okay, or whatever operating system you prefer, and even then, if you come across any problem, just tag me in the Discord channel, and I'll help you with that. Okay. So that's it for the Flutter environment setup. Okay, and yeah, that ends here. Validate your setup with Flutter Doctor. Again, I said no. At the end, you have to run Flutter Doctor, and if the output is almost, I mean, that's if you have tick marks for everything, then you are done with the setup. Okay, let's move on with the PowerPoint. Yeah, what are the guidelines I would suggest you to follow? So how the way I started and learned Flutter is what I'll be sharing under this. I created 2 notebooks. Everything which we learn in Flutter will be will be a widget thing. Okay, so you will come across a number of widgets, 50 to 60, or even more than that. Okay, so remembering that is actually not an easy task. Okay, and each of the widgets had its own attributes. So what I recommend is that create 2 notebooks. One for the theoretical concepts that I'll be taking, like how do we move from one screen to another? How do we add an app icon? Okay, how does the stateful management is done? I said no. There's a topic. How does HTTP requests are managed? So create notebook for writing all those things, and create a notebook for widget. Okay, the widgets which will be using. Also, I've thought that if we have if we have done with 4 to 5 sessions on Flutter, then we will have 30 days of widget challenge, Flutter widget challenge, where each day I'll be asking you to go through these particular widgets, and look for the docs, look for them in the docs, or either you can search a YouTube video of its application, and at the end get known with that widget, so that when we use it in UI development, you have an idea how it works. Okay, so that's what for the create notebook thing. And secondly, beginning can be frustrating. Yeah, since you have a lot of things to learn, so it can be that at the beginning you can be frustrated. You can think, oh, how will I manage it? How will I learn it? Or there are so many things. So don't frustrate. Be slow and steady. Okay, just follow and don't skip the sessions. Okay, don't skip any session. If you are interested, don't skip any session, and eventually you'll see that you have learned many things and you can develop some applications on your own. Okay, and follow the resources and sessions. Okay, resources which I mentioned, if you want to follow it, and the sessions which I will be taking, even Mohini will be taking. So follow all those sessions and you will be good to go. Next, what's for the next session? Yeah, for the next session, I said it will be on Dart. Okay, we'll dive deep in Dart, from basics to the advanced concepts. Okay, if possible, since we will be tackling the object-oriented concept, if it becomes possible that we could keep object-oriented session, then object-oriented concept session, then that would become easier for communicating with Dart. So probably we'll be moving with Dart and in the next session. And what's the task for you all for the next session is that make sure that you have set up the Flutter SDK. Okay, this Flutter and Flutter Doctor, and see if everything is working. And even you can create a project. I said how to create a project and see if the tap counter application is working or not on your Android device or your emulator. So that's the task for you all for the next session. And for me, the next session task is to prepare the list of applications that we will be creating to learn all those concepts that I mentioned in the roadmap. Okay, so I'll create a list of applications that will include all those concepts, and eventually we'll create projects. So it will be fun, and we'll have a good environment for developing and learning applications. This is the questionnaire round again. If you have any questions, unmute yourself, or you can even say me in the chat. Okay, on my chat now. Ask the questions. But there has been a good amount of chat over here. Whether Android Studio are these not possible to download in 32-bit operating system? This is an issue over there. Sorry, this thing is actually creating. I'll just switch on to the Meet over my PC. Okay, so yes, where was I? Thank you. I got a link to download Android Studio, not open. It is possible that, I don't know. I'm using a 64-bit PC, so it could be that this is the prerequisite of installing. Let me see if. No, it says that x86 and 64-bit, both of them are available. Windows 7 SP1 or later 64-bit. I'll see if there could be any option to do that. Okay. So Subanna Flutter can be downloaded from there. Okay, 32-bit systems. Okay, I think Android Studio is not available for, yeah. So not much questions I see. Okay, you have it here, no? And Dada, can you suggest some self-paced course? Okay, self-paced course. I said no. You can download it from Udemy. You have these. You have this link. You just go through it. This is the resources which I have shared. Yeah. So these are actually very good courses. All of them are bestseller courses. So this Angela Yuan is the most important thing if you want to start with Flutter development. She has explained very clearly, and basically you will end up learning a good thing in Flutter. So if you want some self-paced course, download it Okay, this course, and or you can even go through this Maximilian course. Two courses, then only try to get done with Stephen Grider. Stephen Grider actually has some things considered. Actually, it considers the student are well aware with the thing, or well aware with Flutter basics. So that's the course on Flutter. If you are a bit well aware with the thing, so if you want, you can just download these courses. Link. Okay, this is good. So can we develop mobile application based? Yeah, actually, see, right now, you see, most of the Chinese applications are banned. So one of the popular applications like Cam Scanner, it used to make use of for scanning. It has some ML algorithms at behind, and you can actually develop such kind of applications with the ML thing integrated. So it's actually possible. You have to use TF Lite. Actually, yes. And you can do that. You can. Am I having a bit of noise?
It's good to go now, Rahul. There was a disturbance in between.
Just a second. Just a second.
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, if anybody wants to ask anything in specific, you are free to use the chat, because it's not possible for us to answer all the questions all the time in person as well. And for those who are asking about the Discord link, if you're already a member of DSCIM and you're there on WhatsApp, in the WhatsApp group, then just go to the description of the group. You'll find the Discord link there. And if you're not a member of DSCIM, I'll put in the link of registration again. Just fill that form. We'll mail you the links for joining the channels. That's it. That's the way you become a member, so that we know that who are a member of our club and who aren't. That is the whole point.
That's the thing. So this is all about today's session, and there's much more thing left as you see.
I have a question.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Actually, before today I tried to install the Flutter SDK and Android Studio on my PC. I installed that. When I run Flutter Docker in my PC, it shows that Android toolchain is not working properly. And
sometimes licenses is not granted, no? So possibly this could be an error because of the JDK you have installed. Okay, so if your JDK which you are using is greater than 8, okay, JDK 11 or 15, then I actually suggest you to update your JDK to Java Development Kit to JDK 8. Okay, this is actually a good point which you said. Most of the time, you face a problem in the Android licenses because of JDKs only. So make sure that you are running the JDK 8 version, and the error is causing. That's the thing. That's the reason behind that error.
And also, while setting the Android emulator, it's saying that Android emulator hypervisor driver for AMD processor is not available in this device.
If you have if your system has an AMD processor, then you have to download this HEXM SDK manager thing. I'll show you. Just a second. Actually required
I tried to download and install that particular thing, but while installing that thing, I get some error, and that failed while installation.
Okay, so what did it say at that moment?
What that execute when wait a minute.
See, you have this. You need to have this HEXM installer installed. Okay? And so the SDK manager, make sure these are the SDK things installed. Okay, you have a number of things available, but make sure these are the things installed. You need to have an Android emulator, SDK platform tools, SDK tools, Intel basics. For those who are using AMD processor, they could have another option available. So you have to download that thing. So
I
yeah,
I
that's it.
downloaded it.
That is.
I downloaded it. So while installing that hypervisor driver for MD, I getting issue that it's saying Android SDK is up to date. Running Android emulator hypervisor driver for AMD processor installer. Unable to run Android emulator hypervisor driver for AMD processor installer. Cannot start process the working directory. It shows some path.
If you are reading it from your screen, can you share your screen?
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'll just present. I'll stop presenting.
Actually, I am using my phone. For that, I will share that by using camera.
Okay, okay.
It is small or not.
You can maybe send a screenshot to us, like
Yeah.
Where I send? Where
are you there in the WhatsApp group or on Discord?
I am in both. In both.
Yeah, so it's better if Rahul, which you'll be able to access Discord, I guess, in a better way.
Discord is
So you can
should be better.
yeah, so you can just put in the screenshot in Discord in the app dev channel or general chat. Then he can help you out with it. There is no
Yeah, tag-
problem in that.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.